property ownership, the question of having clear, defined property ownership is so critical. I didn't know this, but I was told by a historian that one of the reasons that the Roman Empire failed was when they stopped clearly demarcating property lines. And they sort of went, well, your property kind of goes to there, but it may not go there, and it may go here, and we might take that bit, and nobody ever knew. No one had a clue whether... And the problem with that is what it does is it says to anybody who wants to build on that property, you don't know if your investment's going to be yours tomorrow.
Yep.
And that's where we're at now. And that's what a lot of this indigenous land grabbing stuff is about. You know, taking away the certainty of people's land ownership. The certainty of people's property ownership means people won't invest.
Yep.
They won't work. They won't plan for the future. They won't build stuff. And we all suffer. And we all go backwards, or they go overseas, where they can determine their property rights. It's critical that people... I remember back when I was living in Hong Kong and everyone was like, okay, China had all these incentives. They wanted to make Shanghai the new center, right? And they said to all the big industry, you move from Hong Kong to Shanghai and we'll give you all these tax breaks and we'll do all of this. We're going to make Shanghai the... So the pharmaceutical industry went, yeah, okay, we'll go. So a whole bunch of pharmaceutical companies relocated from Singapore and Hong Kong up to Shanghai, their regional headquarters. Within 5 years, most of them were right back in Hong Kong and Singapore. Why? Because they couldn't enforce a legal contract in Shanghai, because the Chinese courts couldn't be relied upon to stand up for foreign companies. There weren't principles of law, rules of law that overrode politics. So the erosion of the rule of law is another thing that will destroy our society.
Absolutely.
And we have had some pretty weird stuff going on in this country around our legal system. We're seeing stories in the Australian now about these conflicts in New South Wales, and we saw the horrors that went on in the ACT, and they took down, I just remind everybody, how's this for symbolism? They took down the highest law officer in the land. Christian Porter was the Attorney General under ScoMo. They came after him, they being the radical leftist feminists within the ABC and the media, and then within the judicial system and the criminal system. They came after him on, allegations that related to stuff that happened when he was 17 years old.
Yeah, and she wasn't alive anymore.
And the poor woman had committed suicide. She had a mental illness. That mental illness involved psychosis, hallucinations. Her own parents said, this isn't, her testimony can't be relied upon. Her thinking can't be relied upon, unfortunately. She went to the police. The police said, we can't make a case out of this. They still took him down. What a message does that send? We can
lawfare is alive and well.
We can get the highest legal officer in the land and destroy his career and destroy his reputation
on an allegation.
That's what they tried to do for Trump.
On an allegation.
Yeah, all these felony counts, all this lawfare that they, but the good news is that in that case it didn't work. Hopefully
Matt Gaetz though.
Yeah. They're trying with Matt Gaetz, but
George Pell. So the allegations there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the funny. I was joking with a friend of mine earlier today when he asked, do I trust this politician in the U.S. or not? And I said, well, if you've had false felony charges put against you, then I trust you. Otherwise, they might just have something waiting in the wings. So that's in this day and age, that's my true mark for whether I trust a politician, is if they try to bring you up on false charges.
Do you know what the 34 charges are?
Oh, in Trump's case, you mean?
Yeah.
The things they upgraded from misdemeanors to felonies and all that.
Meanwhile, New York
all related to that one payment.
Meanwhile,
New York, but was spread out over 11 transactions, right? But it was the one payment spread over 11 transactions. It was a count for each transaction, for each check, for each invoice, and for each ledger entry. There were 12 ledger entries, so it was 11, 11, and 12.
For a loan
That's
that was
34.
For a loan that was paid back in a bank that didn't complain.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other one. No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
It's talking about the payoff to Stormy Daniels.
There's so many counts. It's too hard.
But here's the thing, right? You've got New York, California, and many other liberal places that are downgrading felonies to misdemeanors.
Right, exactly.
And was it you, Joel, or somebody that said to me that sex offences in Victoria, that magistrates and judges have been advised to downgrade those or downgrade the sentences in order to make sure that recent immigrants are not deported. Now, again, let's have a referendum. And I'll tell you what I'll do. This is how confident I am. Let's have a referendum and exclude all of Australia and just have inner city suburbs, right? The inner city people respond to the referendum as to whether or not they think that's okay. I reckon even the inner city people would say, no, that's not acceptable. Okay, this is why I keep coming back to the politicians are acting as though they have a mandate for something that they clearly do not have a mandate for. And I think I said this to you on the election night. I've got, in relation to what you just brought up about the financing stuff, okay? I don't have 20 million. Wish I did. Don't have it. A few million short. But I can tell you what, I will get that 20 million in the next half an hour. If I can buy Mar-a-Lago for the $18 million that New York reckons that Mar-a-Lago is worth,
I'd buy it tomorrow.
I'll buy it like that. I'll make a couple of phone calls, and I'll have that money ready to buy Mar-a-Lago. I've got people that are involved in the art industry that buy arts, and I don't get it. I see some of the money that they spend, $50, $100 million, and they know people that will spend $300 and $400 million on artwork. And they've said to me that they're reluctant to buy art in New York because why buy it at Christie's or the other big art dealers in New York when they're going to get financing against that art? Because what they're trying to do is they try to make the art rare by having a collection that's closely held. So they then get a valuation, and they use that valuation to borrow money against. Sorry if I'm boring everybody.
No, not
the point being that if in 20 years from now, a particular AG in New York can say, well, that valuation was wrong, so therefore we're going to go after you, the obvious answer is that you don't buy it over there, you buy it in Paris.
They've made it unsafe to do business in New York. It's political risk. Just like the U.S. has made it unsafe for overseas countries to put their financial reserves inside our Western financial system. We are, the number of institutions that have thrown their credibility into the fire in order to maintain this narrative. Everything from the FBI holding the Hunter Biden laptop aside, and then also the 40 intelligence officials that said the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, MSNBC, CNN, the polling that's been wrong year after year. The number of institutions that now have a fraction of the credibility that they did 10 years ago is amazing. And we really need to come around as a society, as countries, and reclaim the values and the integrity that we've lost. And we are in the wilderness for now. Absolutely true. But this will come along. This will swing back.
Hunter Biden could have ended up being an ambassador or a secretary of state or something high up in the government if he had have come out and the media had have come out and he said, yeah, listen, I was partying with business leaders and politicians all over the world and I developed a drug problem and I went off my nut. And you know what? I regret that, and I'm really sorry that a lot of people feel like I let them down. I'm not on drugs anymore, but I've got a wealth of international experience. Americans would go, you know what, mate? Yeah, cool.
Who doesn't have a wealth of international experience in gas?
But you know what? But you know what? There'd be enough people that would actually say, yeah, cool, I'll elect you. It's like Australia, right? Let's go back to Monica Lewinsky. Let's be honest about this. Let's go back to Monica Lewinsky. Is there anybody in Australia that didn't look at Bill Clinton and go, yeah, you should have done that, but yeah, good on you, bro, right? We had John Howard as our Prime Minister. Could you imagine if John Howard was getting... I won't repeat.
Right, so now that we're already off the rails here, can I say that because we are way off the rails, Hunter Biden's actually my favorite whistleblower. You look at the Boeing whistleblowers, right? Suicide from 2 shots in the back of the head. You look at other whistleblowers; they get IRS audits and all that kind of thing. Hunter Biden is the best whistleblower and is having a great time doing it. He blows the whistle on. He leaves a laptop full of high crimes and misdemeanors for everyone to see, and then still has a bag of cocaine in the White House allegedly that somehow they can't find the camera footage or whatever else. He whistleblows better than anyone else.
Talk about daddy issues.
And he does not get the Boeing whistleblower treatment.
I love you, Paul.
So Paul, what you're reinforcing that is my previous point, that if you want to get ahead in business, Forget about Liberals, forget about centre-right parties, forget about all of that. Join the left because that's where you get the preferential treatment.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Guys, we do need to start wrapping this up. I want to take a round of questions. So if you're on Rumble, please send them through. I've seen your comments coming through. They've mostly been compliments of the panel members, which is really good.
Really?
Yeah, one guy said Damo is spot on.
Damo needs to drink less scotch.
Yeah, no. You're doing great. Yeah, I mean, you've got a few admirers, and some people think Paul's excellent as well.
I've got a few admirers. How many haters do I have now? None. I've been on long enough for people to go, that guy's a clown.
You've only
he
got
wants
one.
to go to the World Economic Forum. We've had enough of him now.
There was one guy that said that. Actually, I'm not
lover, you.
literally. He said he's literally WEF. They called you a WEF.
He just wants to go skiing.
And the worst thing is, I was on my last trip to Switzerland. There's.
I listened to him.
No, I know.
My last trip to Switzerland.
No, because that's where my business is, right?
Sorry, mate.
Switzerland,
I'm
Liechtenstein.
only teasing.
So I'm near the border of Switzerland, Liechtenstein. I went to the DFO. And we're driving along, and there's a sign there for going to Davos. And I'm just sitting there in the car going, oh
no.
For all the things that I've said about them. And can we be honest here? That Klaus Schwab, he just looks creepy.
Oh, mate,
it's
a classic Bond villain.
It is totally. It's like
you were doing
I
a
actually have a
casting call,
theory.
it's perfect.
Yeah, I have a theory that it's the Matrix. Someone's actually
Yeah,
up there
that's
in my weirder moments.
right.
Taking the
It's
piss,
like there's
right?
someone's taking the piss.
Yeah.
It's like let's call it the Great Reset when everybody's paranoid about it.
So what you've got to do, just for entertainment value, is actually look him up, and look up his incredible credentials, right? Because he's been given honorary degrees from like 100 different, like essentially Ivy League universities around the world. He's just got degree after degree after degree. And you look at this and you're like,
So it's kind of like the Borat general, the Borat guy who has all the medals of honor from, all these things.
It's the Great Gatsby. I mean, the Great Gatsby basically, is a story about a guy who, had parties.
Yeah.
And all Klaus Schwab did was start the biggest party in the world and invite it. And as soon as it catches on...
And it did catch on. Did you ever see this book?
Yeah.
Reset Australia, Restoring Australia After the Pandemic. Astonishing.
It's 1,500 of the world's biggest corporates and leaders and 1,500 of the world's biggest government leaders. If that's the party, you want to be invited, right? Yeah. And all Klaus Schwab was a bloke who started the party.
Maybe I made a mistake by turning them down. Now my WEF responder here, calling me a WEFie, is gonna lose his mind.
He's probably onto the, it'll be connected to the what's the secret societies and all of that are apparently behind it.
But I'll say this because I don't know enough. I don't know the entire history. What I have seen is a lot of organisations that start up originally with actually quite a reasonable kind of, mandate or a reasonable thing that they're trying to promote, and they get taken over. And that was the point that I was trying to make before. Climate change is a really good example of this. If you go to some of the climate change stuff, which I attend quite frequently, and I
you have a private plane when you go?
I don't. I'm one of the very few people that fly commercially.
Very few.
I was actually offered to be on a private jet.
Sure you were.
And I was going to join it. There was two reasons why I didn't take the private jet. One was because you can't travel in and out of the United States on the visa waiver program if you're on a private jet, a non-commercial airline. You need to apply for a visa, and it just would have taken too long. The second reason was because the flight that I was going to take had other people on it, and because of a slight delay, they were going to send me a Gulfstream to take me and me alone. And I said, look, I'll just jump on a commercial flight, right?
That makes you different than all the other WEF people that are in the climate.
Well, this wasn't a WEF thing. This was a climate change.
Right. But same. They all arrive on their private
I actually
jets.
asked
They say
why they
you should eat the
wanted
bugs.
me there in the first place. What's the point of me being there? And they said, because whatever we're missing with right-wing people, maybe you can be a bridge. So I'm not going to be a bridge if it makes sense. The bridge it has to make sense economically and environmentally. Okay? If you're going to export our emissions to another country and it doesn't save any emissions, then that doesn't make sense. So I have been to a lot of these meetings, and a lot of the founders of these sorts of groups genuinely care. But what ends up happening is that those groups get taken over. And case in point is Greenpeace. You've got the founder of a Greenpeace who's not only left the organisation that he founded, he's actively out there telling people that Greenpeace has become this political joke of an organisation that no longer has anything to do with what they started with. And I want to look at the camera. Sue me. I'm looking forward to it. The Sierra Club in California. What are you doing? Stick to the environment. Why do you want to go on an anti-Trump, anti-abortion, anti-this and that tirade? Stick to your core thing, which is the environment. Stay in your lane. This is the problem that we're seeing with these
the Australian Greens. They're the watermelon party.
Absolutely.
So COP29 is going on right now in Azerbaijan, in the city of Baku. And they have been banging on about meat and dairy. Sorry. And that being the cause of 20% of our greenhouse gases.
How far?
And they literally have their lunches and their breakouts, and it's just steaks and meat and hamburgers. It was a guy talking about it tonight on television.
Was it halal for the Taliban people?
Probably. Yeah, yes. Oh, I know. Can you believe that? The Taliban have been invited to COP29.
How long do you reckon it's going to be until the feminists jump up? I've been surprised it's taken them so long.
Feminists?
Because the reports are that male human beings fart more than females. Now, I reckon
this is an International Men's Day moment.
I reckon that females are just doing some silent attacks. But how long do you reckon it's going to be until people like Senator O'Neill and Senator Gallagher jump up and go, right, we've got to decrease the population of males because if the cows are farting too much and that's affecting the atmosphere, males are farting too much.
Nice. Do you know International Men's Day is also International Toilet Day? Do you know that? That's actually a fact.
Yeah.
Somebody at the UN, obviously a woman, having a bit of a mistake there on the decision.
I reckon Albo will sort of cozy up to the Taliban while he's there for one reason and one reason alone. He's going to go to them and say, hey, Senator Payman, can you just give me it shows she's still a citizen of your country so I can get her to step down as a senator, because you're not allowed to be a citizen of more than one country, Australia. Otherwise you've got to step down as a senator.
Yeah, but that
she's tried to renounce it, but the Taliban, obviously it's a shambles, the administration, so she hasn't been able to. That means that
theoretically, my understanding of the laws, theoretically, me being born here in Australia, I can't run in Australia, but I theoretically could be the Prime Minister of the UK without renouncing my Australian citizenship.
You have to renounce it.
And I'm not sure if it's
not right, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
There's too many people working internationally having, there's too many dual citizens now. It's not like the old days where it's like, oh, there could be a spy. We better not have a dual citizen. Yeah. I think you can sort it out pretty quickly. Like, what is your dual citizenship? I got a friend who's a dual citizen of Lebanon and Australia, and he wanted to run for the federal parliament. And he couldn't run in the last election because he couldn't renounce his Lebanese citizenship because there's no functional Lebanese government. There's actually no organisation you can go to and say, I want to renounce this. They can't do it.
Yep.
I do have to give some credit to the Biden administration. I'm going to defend another group that I don't agree with. No. But I do have to give some credit to the Biden administration in my last trip to the United States, because I was a little concerned about some of the things that I've said on podcasts and things online. And I noticed that right-wing people like Theresa May declined. What's that girl's name from Canada who now identifies as a man? She's gorgeous, a blonde girl.
Oh, there's a few.
She now identifies as a man. That's a shame.
She did it. She did it as a joke to show.
Oh, Lawrence Southern.
Yeah,
right? Sorry. Yeah.
So I believe that she was denied entry to the UK. New Zealand declined entry to people from Australia that were anti-vaxxers and things like that. So I'm coming to the United States, I'm thinking, oh, no, I've been there so many times, not going to let me in. And then you actually had to apply for an ESTA. Now, I've got family in Canada, so I normally don't fly to the US. I normally just cross the border, the northern border, right? And I found out you had to get an ESTA. And one of the things that they asked me was for all my social media and online profiles.
Really? Wow.
And I thought, oh, no, I'm gone. I'm done. And you know what? Not only was that approved very quickly, I have to say that they were very, very polite to me at the border. They were very, very friendly, as they always have been.
The US?
Yep.
Yeah,
there was no change at all. Everything was magnificent and had a great trip over there.
It's just because if you were important enough, like Tulsi Gabbard, then you'd have
some problems.
Then you have some problems. Yeah. The idea that she was put under a watch list is insane.
Just give Kevin Rudd a call, mate. You'll be fine.
I spend so much time in California because that's where a lot of my family live in California, and there's a lot of people over there. I won't say the majority because clearly it's not, but there's a lot of people there, and specifically I spent a lot of time in San Francisco. They are totally against a lot of this woke nonsense. And I've got people that I'm quite close to that are gay that sit there and go, they talk to me about it because they can't say it in front of their friends and family in California. They go, we don't understand this woke stuff. What the hell? We don't get it. I'm sick and tired of this. So I think there is a real change that we can't see. And it's very hard to see unless you're there.
It's coming.
Even amongst the people that you would expect not to be on that side.
Guys, a few questions in the chat. Let's quickly just ram through some of them. One person said, Joel, when will you provide the how to vote cards for the federal election? This is from Kathy. They helped us so much. Pleasure to do it. It'll be 3 weeks before the election. So election could be done early. I suspect a March election is still on the books. Labor may try to call it early because the Liberals haven't pre-selected a lot of their candidates in New South Wales still.
Usual.
And they'll be caught with their pants down, and you need New South Wales to form government, so they might go early in New South Wales. And so, look, it could be 3 weeks before that in March, or at the latest it'll be in May when the election's most likely going to be. We've got a lot of compliments, people saying, great panel, enjoy got a lot of value out of the conversation. That's really good. One person said, no one uses their names, and I understand why, but it's just weird reading out One Big Camel. This is the name of the person. Such a good conversation, so much information and intelligent opinions. Thanks, guys. Smiley face. One person said, this is Dane86. I'd love to hear your thoughts about RFK, specifically on how he's going to tackle Big Pharma and these mass corporations causing a wide spectrum of health problems, particularly in kids. Look, I'd love to go into it. We don't have a lot of time, but look, if you listen to what he said on this specific topic, he wants to go after everything. I mean, he wants to fire pretty much thousands of these employees in these different departments, and I'm here for it. I love all the memes online about him going after fat people, and also the photos of him having that Macca's burger. That was really...
He's got to get past the Senate, though. The Senate is still kind of run by the deep state, and hopefully, as long as he gets confirmed, I think he can make a huge difference. But the Senate just doesn't have the populist revolution that the executive branch is.
And his first port is to ban all the foods that Donald Trump likes. I think. Right. The first thing. I just want to, if I could very quickly say something about this. Look, I'm overweight. Clearly, I'm not sure if that shows on the camera or not. I'm overweight. I weigh 115 kilos now.
Is that it?
Well, I was down to 102. I put a bit back on. I'm 6'1". I weigh 105, and it's not muscle. I need to lose weight.
Yeah.
I've got a few choices. I can use medications, or I can cut sugar. Last time I cut sugar, I lost 25 kilos in about 7 weeks.
Oh, right.
Right, by cutting sugar, doing low carb and keto. Right, there is no medication for that. So the pharmaceutical companies. And look, why I'm overweight? It's not because of environment. It's because of my own bad decisions, because I drink too much, I eat too much, and I've been a lunatic throughout my life, and it's my responsibility.
But there are a lot of things that have hidden harms, like seed oils, vegetable oils. These things are terrible for you. And a lot of these things that have harms have been covered up. The
high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, high fructose corn, absolutely. And so, it's not that RFK is going to ban foods, but actually create investigations and studies that will actually tell us just how badly we have been misled. Like the food pyramid. The only thing that's true about the food pyramid is that you become the shape that they're advertising. That is the only thing that is actually true about
what they need to do, though,
as
well as dealing with food and actually telling people what's in their food, is can we stop bullshitting each other, right? If I show you guys photos of me when I was, 20 and I was a bit more built and, 40 kilos lighter, without blowing my own trumpet, I was a reasonably good-looking person. Now, I don't think I'm ugly today, But the reality is that I'm not as good looking as I otherwise would be because I'm overweight. And why I'm overweight? Because I made a bit of money and I bought a pub when I was 22 and I drank sugary drinks and cocktails and had a life which was totally out of control. And I bloody enjoyed it. That's why I'm fat. This is the result of the fun that I had in my irresponsibility when I was in my 20s. So don't sit there and tell me, oh, the fat acceptance movement's absolutely not. So I think that what RFK is going to do is going to be fantastic.
Yeah. I appreciate the personal responsibility story, and that's beautiful. But the number of things that they have covered up, you know, for the DNA contamination in the shots, for instance, you know, this is unbelievable what they have done and what they've covered up. You know, they're you know, it's one of those things where
there goes YouTube.
Oh, should I stop talking about this?
Go ahead.
You haven't violated yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, the point is, well, I mean, even the Surgeon General of Florida has actually pointed this out. But the thing is, no one's covering it. And the CDC and the FDA are covering for Pfizer and Moderna on the DNA. DNA contamination is bad. If you put it inside of a lipid nanoparticle, which is what they did in the shots, then it gets into the cells. And part of that contamination is the SV40 promoter. This is a problem that once this gets more airtime, once the CDC and the FDA are not covering for Big Pharma, this is going to be a recognized disaster.
Let's come back to the food pyramid for a moment.
I kind of like the DNA contamination.
Okay. But let's go to the food pyramid for a moment. So parents in America say, we want our children to eat more fresh fruit, vegetables. So let's put fresh fruit into their school lunches. So what do? You know,
fruit roll-ups.
Exactly. And you know those little things you get, they're sort of like white at the bottom and they have like, if it's strawberry, there's like a red thing. If it's pineapple, it's like a yellow thing. You know, they're like sort of round yellow. I'll buy a bag, I'll bring them in here. So what they did was they put things like that and the fruit roll-ups into the school lunches. And
they call it fruit.
They call it fruit. And so the government said, that's not fruit. And they said, well, define fruit. The government can't even define a woman, so how are they going to define fruit? They couldn't do it. So they tried to do it by it has to have a certain amount of...
It identifies as fruit.
Exactly. So they had to have a certain amount of like fruit juice and fruit pulp and this and that, right? So now the kids are eating what we would consider to be lollies and candy, and that's being, touted as being fruit. And the NAACP then jumps up and says, well, if you're talking about introducing a sugar tax and all that sort of stuff, that's racist, right? Just so happens that they got a $10 million donation from what's been reported by the sugar lobby. And when I bring that up when I'm in the US to black friends of mine, they sit there and they go, well, I'm horrified. That's terrible. And then I see them, months later or a year later say, hey, did you bring that up last time you went to an NAACP meeting? Oh, well, no. Well, why not? This is the sort of corruption that you see. But I have been most amused by the New York Times fact-checking on RFK in the last couple of days, when he was talking about Fruit Loops.
Oh, I saw this.
And the ingredients in the United States versus the ingredients in Europe.
Yep.
They fact-checked him, which actually proved his point.
Absolutely, yep.
And liberals in California lost their mind over this, saying RFK is out of control, etc., whilst California themselves are now cracking down on that very same practice, and it's the liberals in California that are saying that sugar shouldn't be in the food groups. Hence the reason why I keep saying that people on the left who think they're on the left, probably you need to become a Republican, because actually your party, the Democrats, have given up on you and they don't care about you at all.
The sugar lobby needs to be quiet too, because if he gets high fructose corn syrup out of things, the corn lobby will be upset because that's the cheap sugar that they produce. The sugar lobby will benefit. The cane sugar lobby will actually benefit because that'll have to be used instead. Even Coca-Cola, he's talking about putting pressure on Coca-Cola to take out the high fructose stuff because that's so bad and replace it with actual cane sugar.
And bring the tallow back into French fries as opposed to the the toxic crap that they're currently fried in.
And it tastes better.
Yes. Yep. And it's much better for you.
Some last comments to close off the show. We've gone quite a bit over for this show, guys. But I hope
Rogan episode, right?
Yeah, but it is almost 3 hours.
Did you say it was a 7-hour?
No.
A 7-hour show. That's
9 hour. No,
that's what Damien told me. You said.
No. I have to give a shout out to this this person, Smiley B123. I love this person. I can just tell it's a lovely older lady. She's been telling people to like and subscribe to the channel, and she's been complimenting everyone on the panel. And
darling.
You can just tell. I can't see a young...
Including me, because so far I'm the only person that's had any criticism. Leave me alone. I've got a fragile ego.
Nothing but compliments. It's been very good. But no, look, everyone else, no major. Another person, one person's called Swifty. Good panel tonight. Joel, thanks for trying to wake up more smooth brains. Another person, I can't wait to see the ripple effect of draining the Big Pharma swamp. It's getting spray in the air and drink water. Yep. Recess appointments are the way to go. Eat oil tune. It will lose weight but get more high protein. I think tuna, they meant to say. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this particular live stream. I will be doing another one on Monday. There's actually a crypto convention happening this week in Sydney at, I do believe, the Sydney Opera House. The crypto convention, if you search Crypto Convention Sydney, you'll see the website actually come up. You can actually get a 20% discount if you use our code JJ20, very easy to remember. But I don't know how people are going to get there because apparently the unions are striking and the trains will be down from Thursday till Sunday, which is nuts. But on Monday, I will be having a company...
Fly our private jets in.
It should private. But no, on Monday...
A meat fest.
A meat fest. On Monday, I'll be having a podcast with Stormrake, they manage portfolio funds for people that want to put money into crypto, but they don't want to be the ones investing it. These guys invest it for you. They do really good work, and they're actually going to become a sponsor for the show, which is really good for us. And so maybe I've got to introduce them to yourself, Damien, as well as maybe another gold company. But no, look, I'm doing these things so that you guys can get your money sorted. You know, the market's looking really, really good with crypto right now, and whether it's good or bad, there's different advice. These guys can help you meander through a very difficult topic, crypto. But I really appreciate this. This is probably going to be one of the last shows for the year, but I do have Rami. He's going overseas after Monday, so Monday will probably be the last one Rami does for the year. I'm looking forward to doing many more conversations in the weeks to come, in the months and years to come. But I want to thank everyone for listening. If you've enjoyed Damien, if you've enjoyed Paul, if you want to get more of them, I've put the links to their Twitter for Damien and Facebook for Paul in the description, so you can actually go and follow them more. Shakeel, we are going to get his...
Look me up. Leave me alone.
No, don't look Shakeel up. I'm going to try and hook him up with some socials next year. But I will see you guys later. Did you guys want to say anything before I close off the show?
No, just see you Friday night, othersidetv.com.au, othersidetv.com.au, and Sky News Media Show on Friday I'll be on as well.
Thank you very much. The narrative is breaking. There will be good times ahead.
Absolutely.
My second show on here was with Stephen Pettis, who lives up in Queensland. I think he'd be a great addition to your podcast, so I'll try and hook his place up. But to the people, look, I would just say I do think that we should really get out there, set up some organisations to try to counter organisations like the WEF, like I've said before. And second, and I don't care how much government hates me, can you stop trusting government? They're not on your side. Okay, take your finances, take your life, take your education, your children's future into your own hands, and stop trusting government and stop trusting big corporations, because I promise you they're not on your side. I've been all over the world. I've been involved in chambers of commerce. I've met with politicians, and they're nice people behind closed doors, but they're not on your side.
Yeah,
absolutely. Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. God bless you. If you want to support the show, click the link in my bio, click the link in my description. click donate on PayPal, become a regular supporter. And if you want to buy one of those maps, the electoral maps, I call them the MAGA referendum map for Australia, email me at joel@thearcpodcast.com. I've actually had 2 people email me while I've been sitting here. Those maps are the future. They will show you exactly where it's worth you spending your time in elections. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. God bless you. I enjoy this. I enjoy chatting with you guys, and thank you for the comments and the questions. See you later.